Frauke, you know, you've been sending us all sorts of photos, some whimsical and some very sad, like in Woodford Square where it was filled with litter after a political meeting, and then the one with the organic cars, the rusted cars where there was overgrown green on them, and you said that that's a good factory for us to have. What interests you about our environment?
It just jumps into my face, and when I have a camera I have to take pictures. I don't know, it is just me, but with the cars, when I saw these cars I really laughed.
Yes.
Said, wow, this can't be true. And then I came up with this story. And funny enough, in Amsterdam where I live, somebody once had rented a parking space in front of his house, took the top of his car and started to grow a garden in his car. And the municipality tried to remove this car, and he said, no, but I'm paying my parking duties, so you cannot remove my car. I've decided I want to have a garden in my car.
So we can get into the green car business,
yes.
But then we also need to deal with the issues of our litter laws,
yes.
Because I'm sure that in Amsterdam, your litter laws, and in Germany, that they're much stricter than they're in Trinidad and Tobago.
We have a constant problem. I mean, it's very difficult to convince people, and you have to, I think you have to make it fun, or you have to make it a nice, give it a nice turn to convince people to do it. And I think Trinidad is such a beautiful country. I mean, what you have on trees, flowers, butterflies, birds. It would be so sad if everything goes and perishes. So. And
you see us going that way, or what do you think, Stephen? You were giving us the example of Haiti as a country that didn't care enough about its environment, or perhaps wasn't able to, and it's with disastrous consequences.
Well, I think many social, environmental, economic issues are all really related, and people don't always realize that how much of a factor how the environment's managed and dealt with and interacted with can affect their lives economically. There's huge costs. I mean, we've seen this recently in the Gulf of Mexico, enormous costs of a cleanup. There are other hidden costs, like, you know, we discussed earlier, cancer. How much does it cost to take care of someone who's contracted cancer from an environmental source? In the case of Haiti, you know, they deforested that side of Hispaniola almost completely, and it's a big component of why they have the economic problems they have now in Haiti. So, and there are examples of this all over the world. I'm kind of an environmental history buff, and really not that many new things happen. There are examples and case studies throughout history of upheavals and social upheavals, economic and political upheavals that actually had an environmental component to it. So I think there's a lot to be learned from what's already been done. We don't need to reinvent the wheel to see that we need to take care of where we live.
And as you said, this is a watershed moment in our history, and now's the time. If we want to turn the corner and we want to change, now's the time.
Well, it's a wonderful opportunity, and nations historically don't get very many chances where a country sort of pauses and says, which direction do we want to go? And right now, you could incorporate changes that will make the entire nation more sustainable, the people happier and healthier, and much of it can be profitable and good for business as well.
I want to come back to that point, but now we need to take a short break. Once again, we remind you to send in your comments and photographs to cleaningupthemess@guardian.co.tt. We'll be right back with more on this environmental series on CNC3.